Hello everybody, Kane here today with another episode of our little look into the Prehistoric Kingdom Alpha gameplay. So today we're back and building a Lambeosaurus exhibit. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but you know what? I've chosen the pronunciation I'm going to go with, so yeah, my mind won't be swayed. Anyway, I'm just going to preface this real quick. There's going to be a really weird cut in this time lapse because I spent probably about an hour and a half the first time around building, and I think the first 45 minutes of that build are this first part, but then it cuts to a second about 45 minutes of building I did, or hour of building. I don't even remember how much it was at this point, because the original build was kind of garbage, so I went back and redid it. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, for today's exhibit, I decided to go with, tried to go with a bit of a coastal exhibit. It went interestingly. I've been trying to get this, I spent most of yesterday trying to get this style down, which is why this video is going up a day late. I was kind of having a lot of trouble figuring out how I was going to do this build, which was a bit annoying, but you know what, that's just part of the game, figuring out how I'm doing things. And man, it doesn't help that I keep seeing all these fantastic builds people do, because then I'm like, oh no, I can't build in this game. But you know what? I think this build does turn out really well in the end. There is something weird you guys will see in a little in the showcase actually that happened while I was doing this that I don't know why it happened, but it did, and it's really weird. But I'm not going to really spoil what that is. Anyway, what we're doing right now is basically pretty similar to what we were working on last episode, making a big viewing area above ground and just kind of setting up something for the visitors to walk on so they can go see the dinosaurs, and it turns out all right. It's a really weird thing in a way. On one hand, it looks over detailed. On the other hand, it lacks complete detail, and it's really odd to explain. So I'm just gonna, well, you guys will see when we get there. But basically, I don't know, it's just a bit weird, and I definitely think I should have planned this out a bit more, but you know what? I had to do a lot of test building to get this done, and that took forever, so all things considered, I'm pretty happy with this. Also, there's a lot of issues with pathways in this. Pathways are kind of a nightmare to work with sometimes. Now, some of it is going to get changed pretty soon, or well, I say soon. Basically, they know it's an issue. The devs know it's an issue and are working to fix it. But basically, paths have like a stupid big hitbox, which means you can't really do any terraforming near them, or place water near them, or really do anything involving terrain near a pathway, and it's kind of annoying. But you know what? Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, you can see me messing around with some rocks here. I end up deleting all of those because just various things and ideas. I did mess around with some different stuff for this viewing area. I kind of wanted to try doing another enclosed viewing area, and I think it turned out all right for the most part. There were a few issues with it. Again, you'll see like it's both over detailed and not detailed enough, kind of a weird thing. Basically, like the front of it, there's too much going on, I would say. Like, I should have gotten rid of some of those pylons, probably to make it look a bit less crowded. But then with the actual viewing area, I just kind of, I don't know. It was really weird. I just ended up, how would you say it? Like, I just didn't put enough into it, so it kind of looked really weird. I did try to put shades in, and I think that was part of the problem, is I should have just either built a roof or just committed to it just being a wall, and then done more like work with like planters or something along the edge of it. I mean, this looks fine, it's passable. It's just, I should have put a bit more work into it, I think, trying to get like, what would you say? Like, just some more details thrown in, make it look a bit more interesting and whatnot. But you know what? We've always got that. We can always do that in the future. So, should work out. Well, hopefully at least. And there you can see me having issues with the water and everything. And then we lowered the whole thing down again because I kind of forgot how big the Lambeosaurus are. They're fairly massive dinosaurs, and It's kind of annoying to remember that and have to suddenly edit a large portion of the build. But, you know, we gotta use... I tried basically just throwing in a bunch of rocks at the base of this. I think it looks really cool in the end. It kind of ties the viewing area a bit more into the scenery and makes it look a bit better, you know, rather than just this kind of odd-looking straight into the water connection, kind of like we had with the Styracosaurs, but it worked a bit better with the Styracosaurs, I think, just because the Styracosaurs, I don't know, it just worked better for that exhibit to have the thing just go automatically straight into the ground, not have anything next to it. I guess it's more just that I wanted this to be a bit more of like an ocean feel, like a coastal look, and for some reason I felt like having the rocks right next to it looked a bit better. I guess it kind of made it look a bit more like a pier or something. I forgot how much I messed around with this. Yeah, there were a lot of issues with the pathway, and this is not the last time I'm going to delete the whole thing. Like, it's kind of funny. I kept deleting it so that way I could, like, work, and then as soon as I finished one thing, I got amnesia, basically, and just forgot, oh yeah, I have to add another bit to this. And yeah, that kind of kept biting me in the butt, and it was really annoying, because, yeah, just not a great time overall, you know? There were a lot of things I wish I'd done differently with this build to kind of make it look a lot nicer, but again, I think in the end it does turn out pretty well. It just just took a while to get there, and was kind of a bit demotivating. But hopefully, the next exhibit we build will work a bit better. Hoping, at least, you know, hoping. But yeah, still really enjoying the game, having a great time with it. It's still incredibly fun. Just before people think like, oh no, he hates the game. No, I still really enjoy it. I'm having a blast. It's just, oddly enough, you know, it's a very different build system than what I usually mess around with in games. So it's kind of just, I'm still kind of in that learning phase of figuring out like, okay, how do I make builds that don't look like trash, you know? How do we make something that actually looks nice, and kind of figuring that out. And I've gotten better. That's just all I'll say. I've gotten a lot better, and you know, maybe at some point we'll actually make something super nice looking. That being said, I think everything has actually, I would say this exhibit turns out really nicely. Like the actual like living area for the animals does. The viewing areas are kind of meh, which I find hilarious because I feel like the more I've built, the worse I've gotten at building viewing areas. And maybe it's just because I'm trying not to build the same one over and over, so I'm trying different things with each one, which kind of means, you know, maybe I'm not really playing to my strengths or whatever with building. Who knows? You know, who cares, really? Because yeah, I really liked how everything... Well, the shelter for the Nizoodoceratops was amazing, and I did attempt a shelter again here, but I don't know. I feel like after that one shelter I tried, I can't build dinosaur shelters anymore, and it's really kind of funny and a bit weird, but you know what? It is what it is, and I'm sure everything, again, it's all going to get better the more I play the game. Which, considering it's only been out, what, like, it hasn't been out a week, I've already got, like, 20 hours in the game, which is kind of weird. I don't usually get that many hours into a new game, but yeah. So again, yeah, having a blast. Also telling you for how few videos I've made, just how much time this game is taking. Yeah. It takes a long time to make these builds. More so just because I'm a bit incompetent and I'm messing up things that I realistically shouldn't be struggling with. So yeah. I am figuring out the tools a bit better though, so that's been nice. You know, there are certain things that have gotten a bit easier recently, just kind of figuring out how I do things, how the tools work better, how to get some of the duplicates to function a bit nicer. But yeah, overall everything's still turning out pretty nicely. Having a good time with it. I think the horrible cut is about to pop up in just a second. You guys will see what I mean. But yeah, basically, yep, there we go. Okay. So yeah, basically in this time I had what's the word? Words, Caden. English, speak it. I finished the whole exhibit, and it looked terrible. So I basically just deleted about half of it. Well, I don't even think I deleted half of it. I think I just went to an older save of the build from before the game had crashed and just went from there and restarted basically from that point. And it turns out a lot better than the original attempt to finish this exhibit had. The original attempt was terrible. It looked, I don't know, there was something about it that was just pretty garbage, and I don't really know what it was that was wrong with it. It just, it was just pretty bad and didn't look very nice. Yeah, again, I can't really explain exactly what was wrong with it. I think, once again, it was like a complete lack of foliage, and I feel like that's something... Ironically, for as much as I feel like people generally tell me, like, oh, I throw too much foliage into everything, this game is like, if you don't throw... You know, if you're not making every exhibit basically the Amazon rainforest, it's not gonna work, kind of thing. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just that... I don't know. Maybe it's also just the type of exhibits I'm going for kind of favor this super dense foliage kind of look, you know. I'm going for obviously very forested, tropical kind of builds right now, so I guess that makes sense, you know, in a weird way. I do actually build a custom fence here. I was originally going to build a custom fence for the whole thing, but by this point, I think I'm in our 4 or 5 of straight building in this game, and I was kind of losing my mind, so I just was like, you know what, we'll make a cool little divider fence here for just this area, but then I'm done. I'm not gonna try and mess around with the tools to make this the whole exhibit, because that's gonna just drive me insane. So yeah, that happened. I think this little area does look kind of nice, though. I was pretty happy with how it turned out. And I do like that you can just straight up make fences like these pretty easily. It's also funny because I think I watched one, like the official game trailer for when, like, you know, like they were announcing like the game's coming out soon, right? And these wooden slat pieces I have been using incessantly since the game launched on Friday. Apparently those are meant for like making custom benches and stuff. And I was like, oh. Yeah, no, as soon as I saw those, I was like, fence pieces, and like, what do you call those? Trellises? I think they're called trellises. The things you put vines on, those things. I'm sure someone knows what I mean. Also, here's the attempt at building this shelter. It just, I don't know, it didn't look good. A part of me thinks I should have just poured it over the Styracosaurus one, because that actually looked pretty nice, and it wasn't like too big, so I could just throw it in, probably duplicate it a bit, so that way we could get a bit more stuff into it. I mean, I basically just tried to recreate it, so I really should just copy and paste the thing, sized it up a bit, and it would have been fine. But yeah, no, I just tried to do this, and it was just garbage, so we ended up getting rid of it, but it was alright. The foliage really kind of saves this build, makes it look way nicer, and kind of hides the fact that, excuse me, that there is no shelter, because you can't see the Lambeosaurus when they go to the back of the enclosure, which is pretty nice. It hides everything a bit better. And here's part of the mistake I made with this viewing area. This viewing area, it looked all right, and then I decided to go add a bit more detail to it, and I think that was a mistake. Again, like, I think me basically for 6 hours straight just trying to make a build was a really bad idea, because that basically kind of assured that I was gonna make a mistake, in a way. Like, you know, I was gonna over detail things, or I was gonna make nonsensical choices and stuff like that, and that definitely happened. I think I need to take more breaks. Like, you know, once I've gotten a solid idea, I think I need to take a break after that and just kind of sit back, relax for a second, and then start building again, because yeah, I think me just constantly building straight is just bad for my creativity in a way. Like, you know, I start making stupid design decisions that don't make sense. I did have a lot of fun with the foliage, though. It was originally supposed to be very much like like an oceanside thing, and it very much doesn't look like that anymore. It looks a lot more like a lake now, which I find funny, because now, I mean, I already probably know what I'm gonna call this video, so that just makes me laugh, because I feel like every single exhibit has been named after some body of water, right? Because we had like the swamp, and then, oh, what was it? Maybe the last one was a lake. I don't even remember what I called it. But yeah. the episodes are associated with some sort of body of water now, which is kind of funny. Also, I have to say, this bamboo is by far one of my favorite plants right now. It is amazing at just filling in space, because it's like this perfect, I don't know, it's like the perfect height basically, where it's not so large that it just takes up too much space, but it's also just big enough to kind of fill in gaps. And I really enjoy it. Also, you can see me making Lambeosaurus again because, I don't know, every time I reload a save, it like erases any dinosaurs I created, unless they've already been placed down. So that's really weird. I don't know if anyone else has had that issue, if you have access to this game. It's kind of odd, but, you know, it works out just fine. Oh, and that's the end of the time lapse. Okay. All right, everybody, here we are with the finished exhibit, and I have to say, it is looking pretty good. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Still not as good as the other two exhibits. Although, speaking of which, now again, I know, like, I know I mentioned this so far in every single video, but, like, you know, it's important to mention. The game has issues and bugs right now, just because obviously it's an early access type thing, so there's going to be problems. And a weird one I have just discovered after I finished this and was, like, going to go work on some stuff, is my Hadrosaurus exhibit is deleting itself for some reason. All of the viewing areas are gone, the pathways over here are gone, most of the trees are gone, and my shelter I made for them has deconstructed. And all the stuff over here is gone. It's really, really weird, and I don't know what happened. But yeah, I'm wondering if the game is just... I don't know, who knows, we'll figure it out at some point down the line, I guess. But yeah, that was really weird, because I was going over here just to look at something, and then I'm like, oh, well, that's bizarre. So yeah, don't know what happened here. Kind of odd, kind of sad. Luckily, I have an extra save that is literally just the Hadrosaurus exhibit, so I can always go back there if I want to return to it. But anyway, I'm sure I mentioned this in the title list, but this build took forever, and I'm kind of sad about that because I don't think it became the greatest build I've ever... Well, not like the greatest build I've ever done, but like, it could have been a lot cooler, and I'm kind of sad I didn't get there, but by the time I'm recording this, it's been about 6 hours of trying to make this exhibit. You've only seen about 2 hours worth of footage of me building it, but there was about 4 hours, an initial like 2 to 3 hours of just kind of, well, prototyping and trying to come up with a good design. And then about an extra hour of building on this that I cut because it was garbage. And oh my god. That was an interesting little thing there. I love it. Anyway, before I keep rambling on, let's actually just, let's just take a look at our dinosaurs, the Lambeosaurus, which I have to say are super pretty. They're very colorful, and I really love that about them. Very, very colorful little dinosaurs. Absolutely adore them. Where's the blue ones? Yes, these ones. The like, oh, I don't know. They're just incredible. Look at this. Such a pretty dinosaur. I love all the color on it. Like, look at that. Super vibrant and shiny and lovely. I adore it. It's amazing. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with how this build turned out. I think the only two areas where I'm actually kind of annoyed with this build is, well, for one, this. This is garbage. I think even just removing that makes it look slightly better. It's still terrible, but, this needs improvement if I want it to fit in a bit better. I actually really like this little fence thing, and part of me, if I hadn't already spent so much time on this build, was considering bringing that fence all the way around. However, I've decided against that just because, it was going to take 2 quadrillion years. But I do really like this little fence area. I think it looks kind of cool, gives it a bit of a different feel. I also like that you've got these little areas where you can kind of see over the rocks over at the dinosaurs, which is really awesome. And then, of course, we got this big viewing area, which I think the main problem with this one is more just I need something back here. I need to, fill it out, probably put, planters or something in here, or some railings and whatnot, and maybe some benches. And this would look fantastic. It's just, it's a bit too copy-pasty, and I think I should have kept this viewing area a bit smaller, in all honesty. Or or made it more interesting, kind of like with our Starkosaur one, where I had this cool, like, you know, bent railing. Also, I did fix that, so yeah, it's spelled correctly now, which is good. Anyway, yeah, that's all I've really got to say for this, I think. Again, overall, the exhibit's not bad. I think it looks pretty cool in the end. Still think we could have done a bit more with it to make it a bit more interesting, but I do like the, I don't know, the kind of look it's got. It's not quite as coastal as I wanted it to be. I think it looks more like a lake, or maybe like, maybe it is a bit of a coastal build. I don't really know. But not quite as oceanic as I wanted it to be, which is a bit unfortunate, but overall really cool. But yeah, anyway, if you guys want to see more of these, let me know. Let me know what dinosaur you'd like to see next time, and I'm gonna see if I can hopefully keep the builds from getting deleted as I build new ones. Maybe it's just that the game has like some sort of, it could just be the game has some sort of like, what would that be, like an entity cap, basically? So there's only so many props allowed to be on in the game right now. Or the game only loads so many props or plants or whatever, who knows. Or maybe it's just an error with the save file or something, who knows. It could be any number of things at this point. But yeah, anyway, that's all we've got for today. So thank you all for watching, I hope you've all enjoyed, and until next time, see ya.